rest of the cluster units then. So for all, so in doing the planning approval and building approval, through those stages you might have picked up on there's a few little tasks and things, and it seems a bit superfluous to the actual activities we're doing and so on. Part of the reason for that is what we're doing is we're not just ticking off the subject planning approval and building approval, but there's the file storage and record keeping aspects that we get to tick off as well, and so they've all been clustered with this unit. So I guess we spoke about that right at the start of the semester. The fantastic thing is that through that process doing the planning building approval, you've done pretty much all the requirements for those units as well. But there's some last little bits and pieces to tidy up and tick off. So some of the things you don't get to do. And also there's some collation of information about that needs to be done as well. So the other cluster subjects are the 4003, 4004, 6 and 7. 4004 is the setup BIM capable software, and already had a discussion with a couple of you about that. But all the information is in there for doing that. There's a step-by-step guide in how you document the fact that you've actually set up Revit on your computers at home. Has everybody here actually set up Revit on their computers at home? Yep. Yeah, I know Richard you have. So following that step-by-step guide should be fairly simple. That one's actually administered by Ross of Sidonia. So you go into there, follow the step-by-step guide, produce that information as he set it out, submit it, and he'll mark you off for that. It's fairly simple, as are many of the other units. So 4003, 6 and 7, they're the ones that I'll be checking off and ticking. Now the 4007, we've already done a chunk of that at the attendance day. So that the session with manual filing was part of this. And so it's there that you should have submitted your activity, your file tracking from on that day, the filing record there as scanned as evidence for it. But what we'll have a quick look at first, so we'll go through each of them individually and just have a look at the assessment requirements for them, just so it's all quite clear in your head. There are bits and pieces of information in here to help you with any of these if you wish. So there's the office filing and protocol, but we've already touched on that earlier on through the planning approval. So I take it that much of this is actually going to be very straightforward for you to produce. So getting on the assessments there. Okay. We've got essentially two tasks in here. We've got 3 documents, but both of these documents relate to the same task. Got hard copy filing, so that's a fairly simple task where you set out some stages for hard copy filing, saying this is what I would call this file, this is where it would go, etc. Same as very similar to what we did on the attendance day, thinking about how things should be organised in the hard copy filing sense. I didn't pick up that any of you had any issues with that. Then this other bit here, this portfolio, you're required to put together a small portfolio of evidence to show that you've met all those requirements as you went through planning approval. So this is at the point where if you've kept everything very well organised throughout the process of doing planning approval and building approval, then this is really quite quick and simple for you to do. The way I'd go about doing it is opening up a Word document and then taking snips and writing some very short descriptions of what they are and how that's meeting those requirements. So you do that, create that small portfolio in a Word document, and I'm expecting, well, typically it's 2 to 3 pages long, the Word document, but also submit with that this this evidence sheet as well that helps detail everything that's going into that portfolio. So that gives you a very quick overview guide of what you're putting into your portfolio. So industry standard project naming, projects 1, 2 and 3. That's where you get your front sheet from your drawings. Take a snip of that showing that you put the property address, the client's name, the building designer or your information on that sheet, and then put that into your portfolio. And so then comment/justification as to how this submission meets the requirements. You say, well, I've employed industry standard naming practices for all of my drawing sheets, etc. So that's essentially your checklist there for everything that's to be included in your portfolio, and go through here, provide just some very brief comments, quickly say, this is what I've done. That one. I'll just get the Learn page up again. And this here is information on that portfolio. So it gives you that rundown of what you're meant to do in that portfolio. But that evidence table is probably clear enough for doing that without the written description. So. And we'll have a quick look at the hard copy filing task. So for each of the following aspects required to gain development approval, explain the following processes. So client requirements, explain your source of documents, what title you give them, and what version control. So I think we're all fairly much across version control that, we'll use version 1, and then if our client requirements change, but not substantially, we'll use version 1.1. If our client decides they want to build a different house on a different allotment, well then we'll go version 2. Source of documents, well, it's either going to be the client or the building designer. And so work your way through that. None of this I'm expecting should be particularly difficult. It's just it's mostly about just filling it, ticking those last little boxes that relate to those cluster units. So I won't go through that in detail for you, but I think project compliance requirements should be fine with site location characteristics, existing services and infrastructure, and drawing set for submission. Is there anything on that list that anybody would want a little bit of explanation on? As to where you'd get them from?
Well, we'll say for existing service and infrastructure, is that just where we found out what is already on the site? Like we looked at the property location browser and saw where all the sewer main and stuff like that is.
Yeah,
so we just say, well, that's where we found the information.
Exactly. So that's your new source of those documents, the property location browser. For getting all your existing services. Exactly. So both of these tasks I expect won't take you very long. Certainly that first task you could do that in 10 to 15 minutes, possibly less if you're quite quick at typing. The second bit, the portfolio of evidence, there's a little bit of time involved in that, probably that 20 minutes or so, 20 minutes, half an hour. But I'm just expecting that you'll compile that in a Word document, taking snips of the various different pieces of evidence and just putting a little title under there saying this is this one from this part of the table. Any questions about that? So that's for 4003. 4004, that's the one assessed by Russell. 4006, once again, is much the same. So, like 4003, there are folders of information there that can help you with these particular things. However, that same information is in the planning approval section as well, and we would have seen that already. So, once again, we're putting together a portfolio and a portfolio table. I won't go opening that one up because it's essentially, by nature, it's no different than the first one. You're going through, taking snips and producing just a little bit of description as to what they are, pulling that together in a portfolio and filling out that table. The aspect which this one differs from 4003 is, once again, there's another small task to complete, which is filling out a table, but this is less about what you've done and where you've got those documents from, and now it's about defining the role and the responsibility of the various different consultants that have been involved in the planning approval and building approval process. So, to distinguish between role and responsibility, you're thinking about what that person does and what they do for you, but then what is their responsibility? What are they actually looking after? What are they legally liable to be carrying? So we've got our geotechnical engineer. Or is there any one of these in particular that you'd want to talk about? We've got geotechnical engineer, structural engineer, termite pest management, council, plumber, ceiling manufacturer, SA Power Networks, put networks in there, council planning, or council, not planning and building itself, underfloor heating manufacturer. Any of those that anybody would specifically like to have some clarification on their role or responsibility?
Council.
Yeah. Okay. So the role of council is to assess your documentation and provide you with planning consent or building rules consent as advised by the private certifier. Basically, no councils, or very few councils have building assessment staff on their staff. Now it's primarily private certified, but yeah, that's their role, is to provide those approvals. What their responsibility is to ensure that the proposals put forward meet the development plans sufficiently or are in the public interest. So that's what they're responsible for maintaining the cohesive nature of our urban development. Anything else?
It's got ceiling manufacturer under project 2.
Yeah, well, actually, we didn't. Yeah, we've taken that out. Okay. That's a good point. So that'll have to be updated. But let's say we've got a ceiling manufacturer. Okay, so their role is. Anyone?
To design the ceiling.
Exactly, to design and to manufacture the ceiling. Their responsibility is
to uphold the standard as the Australian standards and NCC.
Yep, and also to provide a product that, to back up warranties and provide a product which is free of defects. That's yeah. So those once again, it shouldn't take it doesn't take a lot of time to pull those aspects together and to have a think about any of those contributors. Then finally, the last unit that's clustered together with the planning and building approval is 4007. This one's a little bit more involved than the others, but once again, it won't take you a great deal of time to pull together. So we'll have a look at those assessments. So in here, we've got the attendance day task, which you should all be familiar with. So we've been through that. We won't need to revisit that. The only thing that you'll have to do if you haven't done it already is submit a scan of your log, your filing log, to that to the submission portal, which I'll show you a little bit later. Then we've got, once again, portfolio and portfolio evidence table. So the same as the other one, you're gathering information from when you worked through your various different projects. And then we've got our filing task. So with the filing task, you're required to get information from Project 1, Project 2 and Project 3 and watermark the document and then save that as a PDF and submit it. You're also to save a letter as read-only, and then also get another letter and lock that file with password protection. So get your letters that you supplied to your client to say we've achieved that approval. Then with your first one, watermark that letter, etc. Then under that, it's much the same process as what you did in the attendance day, where you state where you'd file the following items. So it's about showing that you can organise your manual filing for that. Well, actually, no, that's digital filing. So file folder and file subfolder. So to do all those things, watermark, read-only and password protection, I produced this a little bit earlier on today. So with the new Word program that's on you will have access to. Now that changed since last semester. I don't think anybody has jumped ahead. None of you have jumped ahead and done any of this yet, have you? If you have jumped ahead and done it and worked it out for yourself, well, that's fine. Anyhow, but I'll just show you where that new instruction set is included. So in just under the assessments, so this one's my copy, so it shows all the ones that are hidden from you. But I produced this folder, secure file storage and forwarding options. Open that up. Have a look in there. We've got document protection options. So that's the instruction sheet on how to do each one of those aspects. And then also there's just a bit of information there on saving files for cloud, but I imagine you all know that by now. Is there anybody who hasn't been or isn't able to save files to cloud from their Learn portal page? Everyone's done that? Yeah, haven't you been saving to external hard drives? You can also use the cloud storage via tape as well for saving and backing up. So I produced this document on how to encrypt with a password and given you a step-by-step guide, or passwords, save as PDF, watermark document, and restrict editing. So produced a step-by-step guide in how to do that and grabbed a couple of screenshots to guide you through that. So it really should be quite simple. So password protection, go to File, and then click on Info, Protect Document. When you click on Protect Document, it brings up this dialog box to encrypt your password. Type your password in, and then you're prompted to type it in and confirm it, and then make sure you've recorded your password somewhere so you remember where that is. What you'll need to do with the submission to this is you submit that file to me that's password protected, but then also submit with that the password so I can open it up and check. So I can see that you've protected a file with a password. Saving as PDF, I don't know that any of you would really need. It's very straightforward. So open the document you want to save as a PDF, go to File, save as Adobe PDF, nominate the file name and location when prompted. It's very, very straightforward. Nobody has an issue with saving files as PDF. Watermarking documents. Once again, very, very simple process. Not something that you're doing all the time. So we open the document, and then on the top of our document page, we've got Design up here. We can click on Design, and right on the top right corner of our page, we'll have this drop-down box for watermark. So use the drop-down arrow, or click on the drop-down arrow for watermark, and then right at the bottom of those options, that you've given a whole series of standard forms of watermark. You can choose one of those standard forms. But what I'm asking you to do for this task is to go into Custom Watermark from the options near the bottom of the dialog box, and then select Text Watermark. Automatically it comes up as no watermark. So you select Text Watermark, and just in the text there, put your own name, like I've done, and then select OK. Once you do that, your watermark isn't going to be visible on your active document that you're working on, but a good check to make sure that watermark has gone there is you just go to Print, and it'll bring up that Print Preview screen, and you can see that your watermark is on top of your document there. So that's the step-by-step guide. If we just quickly do that now, so we go Design, got watermark over here, select the drop-down arrow. So we've got all our various standard forms, or we can go straight to Custom Watermark, Text Watermark, type your name in there, etc. I don't have a keyboard here with me up here, and then go OK. So that's watermarking your documents, and then for read only, so that's been updated with the new word. So it now comes under Restrict Editing. So click Review. So Review up here, and then it'll take you to Restrict Editing. Under Editing Restrictions, check Allow only this type of editing in the document, and make sure the list says No Changes, Read Only. So we get this dialog box coming up, so No Changes, Read Only. Click Yes to start enforcing protection. In the box that opens, type a password you'll be able to remember, and then type the password again to confirm it. Password's optional, but if you don't have a password, anybody can click Stop Protection and edit the document. So that should be fairly straightforward, follow the bouncing ball type type approach to completing those aspects. I'll just get our Learn page up again. Yeah. Any questions about that? Yeah. So basically, for all the cluster units, as I said before, you've done all the activities throughout planning approval and building approval. Then it's just simply now about compiling that evidence in your portfolios, just as a Word document, page snips and brief descriptions, filling out those tables and completing the small tasks involved in each. And that's right, I was going to show you where you're submitting to. So in each of those cluster subjects, you've got submission portals. So obviously portfolio, that's where you're submitting your portfolio and your portfolio evidence table. For filing task, which is, so in 4007, that's going through doing the watermarking, the password protection and the read-only. Oh, and please use the same password for your read-only that you do for the password protection as well. Well, it doesn't matter too much, but if you do change it up, please let me know. You've got different passwords, and then under attendance day, that's where you submit your filing log from the day. Does anybody have any issues with doing any of that or completing any of that? All right, great.